Hey, Tej here. Today we're taking a look at technical analysis for SP500 with Elliott Wave Theory. Before getting into the analysis itself, I wanted to let you know that I've created an Elliott Wave Basics course which you can have access to through Patreon. Thank you for your support. Let's get into the analysis next. So here on the futures chart we have still two higher time frame, well not too high time frame, but again from the highs of 41.79 again that was around 30th of December. So we had this idea where we had a five-way structure coming down and ended at these lows. We have now taken out those lows and we were thinking that this definitely felt like a three-way structure. Now, there are two different ideas. Either this was a third wave here or this was a third wave. We're going to take a look at that other option later on, but let's go through this first. After creating this three-way structure here, it definitely is clear that this is very impulsive. So, in my opinion, if we are still looking at this count, we would either be looking at this structure here as another ABC coming down. That should actually be sub-micro. Let's fix those. To create a expander flat. This would be the scenario where we would be creating a structure like this. So 3, 3, and then 5. And at that point, again, we could have the possibility of getting to the 382 here. At the moment, we have already retraced quite a bit of this structure. So it might not be the best looking structure if we are ever going to be creating this. So 0.618 target is just below or above the wave A highs. We definitely want to be taking out these highs for a zigzag. And that would be with five-way structure. And then we would be looking for higher prices. Again, this is just one scenario. This doesn't need to be the scenario. I am short currently. Again, we were looking into these smaller timeframes on Discord as well, but I'll talk about those later on during this video as well. But yeah, that was one idea. If we are creating a expander flat here, we would be targeting something like, let's see, 0.618. Let's see if we can get something like this, 1.618 here. That would be hitting the 0.382 here. So, of course, depending how low we go here, whether we are just going to take off the lows here and then shoot up, then we have possibilities of getting a bit higher still. If not, then we would be even lucky to scrape up these highs. Again, this is not probably the main count due to anything, but I feel like it is still somewhat worth taking a look at since we have not hit the one-to-one extension in time. Once we do, it is reducing the probabilities that this would be the wave 2. Again, the idea is that this would be a wave 1, 2, and looking for downwards. Is this too short of a wave 2 in this scenario? I do think so. But again, let's take a look at these. Actually, it did hit the 382, so it's not technically too short, but it did not retrace the 382 in price either. So it would be very abnormal to have a really short wave 2 in time and in price. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about this. The other scenario is that instead of wave 4 being here, this would be the wave 4. Again, we had this as a three-way structure. So wave 4 could be in here, and as this would be a potential structure coming down. Now we had a very much lower low here on RSI as well, giving us a signal, giving us some kind of information that okay, take a look at this again, because generally what we see is a third wave having a divergence against fifth. If we are creating new lows on RSI here on the very last legs, what does that tell us? That has a potential fifth wave extension for us. As it has already happened during the potential wave 1 here, this is giving signals that are very much more bearish. Of course, we don't know what kind of structure we're going to get, or if we are going to be getting an extension at all. It could be just that we would be creating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like this, and then we would be creating that retracement. But again, this is just one scenario that we are going to be getting that extension on the fifth wave. Now let's take a closer look on what actually happened during these last legs. So yesterday we had this dump Again, fifth wave, we had, if we are looking at these trend lines here on RSI, I noted this, that we had a very clear trend line coming down. That was broken up in here. Look at the time here, or the area where we were, and then pumped. We pumped until we again broke this next trend line that we had here. So again, where we were splitting through that was right around here. So that would be giving us a potential high here. And if we were looking this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we did have that divergence at the very top. So that is something that is very common to see. Then we had a potential 3, 3, and then 3. This is a bit questionable, whether it's a 3 or 5. This mess with the news event today, I can't remember, was it CPA or something else, I can't remember, but whatever it was, it created us a very much of a nice dump, clearing the previous lows here and in here, taking out this small liquidity that we had, just tapped into it here, and then bounced up another high, creating this as the B wave, and then we would have this as an A, B, and C. We are so close to the 0.618 that I'm going to be allowing that. So that is that. Again, minimum for a C wave or third wave of anything in corrections. So again, this looked very much like a impulse wave structure on lower time frames, where this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that would be a fire wave. It would be explaining why and what this actually was. So that's what I'm going with at this very moment. Now, after that wave was done, we were looking into this structure again. First, we were thinking that, okay, maybe this is a continuation of that previous structure here. And I was long here. I got stopped out of that long because I was looking into longing here. Longing here during the pullback. I got stopped out again here, but I had a short from here as well. Because again, this structure looked like a five-way structure coming down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We did have divergence here. We had a triangle giving us potential wave 4 vibes. And then we would have this as a three-way structure, as a flat, expanded flat. Although it did not retrace too much, it did hit basically the 0.5. So that was well enough for me to get into the short. And also, why I was not looking for higher is just because this was already kind of extended. 1.618, surely I'm going to enter that as a short if I see this after a five-way structure. At least what we would be looking for is some kind of a C wave here if this was an ABC. Of course, that still could happen. There's nothing denying that. But this is the view I have at the very moment, that again we would have this as a wave 1, 2 of smaller degree. Now we are again, and this would be probably another 1, 2 of smaller degree. But the issue with this one is that now that we are creating these smaller and smaller 1, 2s, the more we see these, the less likely it gets. So there is also a possibility where this is turning into a diagonal. Of course, again, we have already overlaps with these, so we can't have a 1, 2, 3, 4. So instead, we could have just a diagonal here. That is definitely a possibility. And then we would be looking for correction and then downwards. Again, the very tip top here is the invalidation for this idea. If we go higher, what kind are we looking at then? Probably we would be needing to create this into some kind of three-way structure, as in the form of ABC. And then we would have this as an ABC linking up to another ABC and then another ABC, creating basically a pardon leg for this first structure up higher. And then we could be looking for lower prices again. These are corrective structures. Of course, they can turn into a leading diagonal upwards. And then this whole thing here would be the fifth of something, instead of this being a corrective wave structure. So we would have this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that, and creating that diagonal look, wave 2, and then off to the highs. We'll see. Of course, what is going to happen, but this is my main at this very moment that I'm sharing. But I think that brings us to the end of this video. If you made it this far, again, I would appreciate the likes. Link to my free Discord server in the description below. And for now, I thank you for watching and hope you have an amazing rest of your day. See you next video. Bye bye.